What's up, everybody? It's Otaku Tavern back at you with another video. And tonight's video is going to be like a little Easter special. So, hope everybody is doing well. And if you like the type of content that I create, make sure you like, subscribe, click the bell notification so that you do not miss a video. And let's get into this. So, what I want to talk about tonight is, as an outcasted otaku, you are just too weird for society. And what I mean by this is you will obviously not fit in if you are a real, true, genuine otaku. Now, I mean, if you're in Japan, I get it. That probably doesn't apply. But
you'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
You know, I'm not necessarily talking about that. I'm talking about kind of, you know, America really right now. It's like, most people I feel like are just like casual anime watchers or just people who would say they're like a fan. They're not really like a die-hardcore fan. You know, that's where all these toxic fandoms come from, right? But anyway,
I grew up without a community. Tiger Division has become my
you know,
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
the thing is, you know,
You guys are the coolest. I always thought so.
if you,
Let's kick some butt, shall we? You're pretty cool yourself. Being able to understand
how do I say this?
I wish I could do that.
It's kind of like, you know, you're in a strange land, right? Like, you know,
The battle starts in 5, 4,
you
3, 2, 1.
you kind of live in two different worlds, per se, and, you know,
I'd be surprised if good old Doomy isn't behind
the
it.
thing is like, you know, when you're in these two worlds, it's like, it's very hard to kind of exist in a world where you're not really seen as a human. You're not really seen as a person. And that right there, you know, it's brutal, you know, and it's like, the thing is
I'm back.
there's a quote, you know, that I've mentioned this before, that Prince said to a person he was on the news with, a person I don't particularly like, but we'll not get into that. Just, it was something he said to somebody, and this woman was really rude to him in the interview, and she was like, you know, well, do you perceive yourself as being weird or any way, or, you know, are you always this pretty, you know, stuff like this, was just saying this to Prince, right? And he's like, you know, he just kind of laughs it off, because it's like, you know, but she's trying to humiliation ritual him, right? Like, and he didn't fall for it. Like, he wasn't gonna have it, and he goes, you know, oh, well, yeah, at times I have, and he's like, you know, he said, I don't think it's weird. He said, you know, everything is relative to me. Some may perceive it to be weird, but it's definitely not weird to me. And, you know, good quote. And it's like, you know, when you think about it, this probably is where the quote should stop, right? That's what you would probably think. And I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not saying you're right. I think it goes both ways. It's still good, but like, you know, she tries to pick like a fight with him, like being like making fun of his hometown, right? And he's like, she's like, you live in Minneapolis of all places, and he's like, I will always live in Minneapolis. And then she's like, why? And he's like, because it's so cold, it keeps the bad people out. Now, obviously, he's not necessarily saying that bad people aren't in Minneapolis. What he's saying is he's not just meaning weather-wise. He's meaning a whole slew of things when he says this, like keeping bad people out of his life. You know, he was referring to her and a lot of other people. But, you know, I think it really applies because it's like, you know, these normies, y'all, like they're the weird ones, you know. They are the like they got something wrong with them. Like I think like normies probably have like some sort of like mental illness to where they want to be like make everybody be a normie like them, right? It's like if you're not a normie like them, then you know you're the enemy, so to say. Like you're an enemy, and you know they perceive you as less of a human. They perceive you as you just don't matter. That's how they view you, right? It's like, you know, that's pretty damn brutal. I'll be honest. That's extremely brutal. Like, but the thing is like, I wouldn't want to be a normie. That's the thing. You know, there's a lot of people, like some of these people I've watched, like, man, I wish I was born a normie. And it's like, you know, I think that's a stupid thing to say. I would not want to be born a normie. Absolutely not. Now that I know what I know about them, I mean, I never wished I was a normie anyway, but, you know, this here, you know, this channel is obviously a safe space for outcasts and otakus, right? But, like, you know, the thing is like, all this stuff that the normies are into, it's all cringe, right? Like, you know, the constant judgment from family, peers, family or your peers, you know, and it's, or, you know, basically like, you know, something else I'm going to talk about is like the exhaustion of hiding your hobbies, right? Like, so the first thing I want to talk about is like the whole thing with the judgment, right? Like, you know, you know, I did a video talking about some things, and it's like, you know, these people, they don't really have a life per se. Like they want to try to make like they do. Wow, so what? You go to work all the time. You know, you're slaving all the time. You're going on vacation. That's not necessarily always a life, right? Like, you know, there's a lot more to life than that. You know, if
30 seconds before you attack.
If you have the attitude that all there is to life is just work and nothing else, like, I mean, sure, it's like, I get it, work is a part of life, yeah, but like, you know, to believe in, you know, what these politicians and mainstream news are telling you is just foolishness, right? But
starts in 5, 4, 3.
the judgment that they do is constantly cringe. Like, you know, say you like a,
I'm not cold.
I don't know, maybe like,
There's a difference.
okay, I'm gonna give two scenarios here. So, say you like K-pop music, right? So I'm gonna give 4 bands here, and they're all gonna be different, but they're all gonna be K-pop. So obviously I'm going to mention, like, this is gonna be just for one group, like Soulja Boys and like Huntrix from K-pop Demon Hunters, right? And then so you got like Blackpink, see BTS, and then like Cat's Eye, right? So
Sniper, right there.
if you wear a shirt from any of these things as a man, you will get told the same answer. If you like BTS, it's girl music. If you like Blackpink, it's girl music. If you like K-pop Demon Hunters, it's girl music. If you like Cat's Eye, it's girl music. You can't win with these normies, right? Like, especially ones who are all up into like CNN and Fox News kind of mindset. Like, that's all they think about, is just slave working. That's all you should do, and go vacation to gossip and just see other parts of the country. It's like, these people are clowns. They're total clowns, right? Like, they don't really, do anything like productive. Like, and what I mean is, like, other than they're working, like, they don't do anything that's like fun. And it's like, when you think what they do isn't fun, it's like they view you as weird. They view you as not normal, that, you know, you got something wrong with you, or they'll be like, what? You know, or like, say you like that type of music, right? It's like, that's not even girl music, you know, that is a stereotype, right? Like, that is for guys or girls, it does not matter, right? And it's like, you gotta call this stuff out for what it is. So next time when you hear this stuff, tell them, you know, that is stereotypical. You know, you should be ashamed of yourself, right?
Target division has become my
Like, just seriously, just tell them that, because you gotta call it out. But
30 seconds before you attack.
you know, like I was talking about in the video the other day, I haven't uploaded it yet, but I was sorry, I got swing messages in here. I was you know, wearing like K-pop Demon Hunters to get up, right, in like Walmart.
4, 3, 2,
So I was getting like
1.
a couple of grocery items and some stuff, but like,
The mission area. Got it?
the funny thing was, I actually bought a K-pop Demon Hunter shirt from Walmart that day. But like, the thing is like, you know, these people, they will look at you weird, you know, because they know that you are different. They can tell that you are not a normie by wearing that. They can tell. They're not dumb, right? Like, they, in that aspect, they're not. Like, they know that you are not a normie like them. They know that you are different. And that bothers them really, really bad. I can't even begin to tell you how bad that bothers them, because you can really see it on their face, right? You know, they will make little snide remarks or try to, like, make a crappy remark in disguise as a joke or playfulness, but it's like, really what they're doing is they are truly insulting you. They're trying to disrespect you, and you can't take that crap, right? You gotta, like, call that out for what it really is, man. Like, you, regardless if you're in a, like, an outcasted otaku, regardless if you're like a woman or a guy, right? Like, you gotta call that out, you know, like, and it's like, you know, it really makes you want to hide your hobbies from people, and we'll get into that momentarily.
Us against the world.
But you know, their judgment, they will also be like, you know, if you know, they may like dog on you because you like fictional characters, right? Say if you're a man, you have waifus, or you're a woman, you got husbandos, like they're gonna dog on you, you know, and you know, that right there is a joke in itself, bro. Like that, it's just like, you know, it's dumb. Like, it's completely dumb to act that way. Like, it's also very immature too. But like, you know, another thing, they got this like Andrew Tate type mindset too. And it's like that right there is just really disgusting in my opinion. I mean, and it just goes to show that these people, honestly, you know, their marriages are terrible. I'm going to tell you that right now. I've seen way too many people, like, I'm going to tell you this now. You know, you may think that, oh, well, behind closed doors it's different than public. I'm going to tell you now, in some cases that is true. However, it will bleed into in the public. If there is not a good marriage at the house, it will bleed into when you're in public. And, you know, all you got to do is just pay attention, watch body language, and you will see it for yourself, right? So, anyway, my point being is, like, you know, they try to paint this picture that's just obviously BS, right? But, anyway, I wouldn't want to be a part of this little perfect picture that I got going on anyway. But it's like, you know, they obviously think they're better than you because of what they value, they deem, and that for their kind, they like their status. They view it as whoever does not have their status and status higher than them is nothing. They're a nobody. They don't contribute to society. They don't belong in society. Like that's literally how most of these people operate. And it's like, you know, you may be saying, well, you know, they would say otherwise. Of course they would. You know, because that's what keeps the good image going. Now, if they were just to come out and say that, you know, they'd be like, oh, how could you say that in public? You know, but they're thinking it. You can tell by the way their body language is, right? You can tell by the looks they give you. You can tell by the snide remarks they give you, right? And, you know, the Bible says, out of the heart, the mouth, like the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. Now, obviously, every time you say something, that doesn't mean that, like, you know, you're just like speaking from your heart every time. But in this circumstance, you definitely are. Like you definitely are. And it just goes to show that you obviously really just can't. It proves the point I was making in another video that you can't really talk about
My actions speak for me.
your hobbies because of the you know, you can't do this with normies, you know. And the thing is why would you want to talk to normies anyway? You know, why would you want to lower yourself to doing that? Why would you want to put yourself through the humiliation rituals?
To what end? To what end?
And it's like,
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
it's just ridiculous, right? But you know, it makes you want to hide away, right? Like, it obviously makes you hate going out in public because otakus are very passionate about, like, their likes and such. They love wearing the merch, the anime merch, the plushies, and just, you know, all this kind of stuff, right? Like, socks, pants, cosplay, you name it, right? You know, we do it. And it's like, you know, the normies, though, they don't like this because they want us to be like them. And, you know, if I had to be a normie, I would just rather not live at all. You know, because that wouldn't be a life that I would look back on and say, you know what, I lived a good life. I just wouldn't say that if that was the case. Like, I would not want to be a normie. Like, I mean, it sucks. Like, why would I want to treat people like that? I mean, I'm not going to, obviously, but, like, you know, it just goes to show that,
Now the claws come out.
you know, these people, they obviously don't even care about your well-being, bro, because if they did, they wouldn't be acting like that. Yeah, I agree. They definitely are disgusting people, and you know, like, I know that's less likely where you're at since you live in Japan, but you know, here in America in the States, it's very opposite of that. Like, I feel like most people who are into anime just kind of lie about it. Like, they can't even tell you like 100 animes they've watched or 100 anime games they've played, or they're like a casual watcher and then they get on these toxic fandoms and they just completely and utterly dominate over it because they're doing it because that's just whatever, you know. But like, I mean, it's just very disgusting. I agree with you. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that. But anyway, sorry if I kind of like pause in my sentences. I am kind of trying to concentrate. Freaking words are going everywhere. I do that sometimes when I'm focusing, y'all, so I apologize. But anyway, and it's like, you know, society wants to put you in a box, bro. Like, these normies, they want to put you in a box, and it's like they want to categorize you, right? You know, and this is one of the major issues within society that I talk about all the time, right? But you know, the thing is like when you are at the point before you get to the point of not caring about what others think of you and what about your likes and stuff, you know, you go through what's called hiding your hobbies exhaustion. And basically what that is like, you obviously hide your hobbies, you don't tell nobody, you try not to wear the merch out in public. And it's like, or maybe show it off or whatever. It's like, that's not being true to yourself, obviously. And it's like, that is going to lead to major exhaustion. I mean, major. Like, you know, because you're not being true to yourself, right? Like, your likes and hobbies, you're not being true to that. And it's like, you know, your hobbies are a major part of who you are, believe it or not. They actually are. You know, some of the most major things about you, actually. Like, but it's like, you know, these people, they don't even care, bro. Like, they just want to act like they're better than you, and it's very exhausting to have to deal with like all those looks and stuff in public. And you know, people just like looking you up and down, like looking at your clothes of your merch or whatever, you know, you got going on with your otaku stuff, right? And you know, it's like those people were looking at me weird because I was wearing like Huntrix merch from K-pop Demon Hunters, right? And it's like, see, these normies, they're so concerned with what everybody else is doing. They're always up in everybody's affairs. And it's like, you know, the Bible talks about that. You know, it's like they don't even, I just lost my thought of where I was going with that. I don't know. I just completely lost that thought. I apologize. Yeah, I lost that. Oh, I remember. But it's like, yeah, you know, they're always constantly up in people's affairs, and
I'm not judging.
you know, like I said, the Bible talks about that. But it's like, you know, I'm telling you, like, I see people, literally the same people drive around on street after street after every street wanting to know who's at whose house, who's home, you know, are they gone, where are they at, you know, all this stuff. I've talked about this stuff on YouTube before. And it's like, you know, it's just weird, but like, you know, basically the reason I want to make this video is because I'm tired of the gatekeeping and the judgment and the stereotyping. I'm completely fed up with it.
White fox on
And you gotta start calling this stuff out. You have to, because if you don't call it out, you know, you gotta let them know that you're not going to take bullcrap off of them, right?
Well, if it makes you feel any better.
And
A lot hotter than me.
you know, obviously this comment section is a place where people can talk and stuff about all this, but you know, it's
Battle
like
starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
it's just, I don't know, it's really brutal because
Got it?
Gotta try to keep my cool.
you shouldn't have to deal with this crap. Like, it's like they want you to look a certain way, be a these normies, bro, they are pathetic, bro. Like, I mean, sorry, Jeff. But it's like, you know, they want you to be like them, you know, like, and in a sense, if you was to do that, you would just be numb, right? You'd be numb, and it's like, who wants to live a life like that, bro? Like, but anyway, it's like, you know, it's exhausting to also try to bridge the gap with these people who obviously have zero empathy or imagination, or you know, all they think about is slave work or some kind of politics, the crap that they're seeing in the politics. And it's like, you know, see, these people, you know, well, I'll tell you what they do. It's kind of like this, you know, these normies, they pretty much are like obsessed with their status. They are obsessed with
Keep going.
Sports stars, celebrities that they'll never meet, bro.
Just too bright for you.
And it's like they give us a weird look for like loving a character. And when I say like not meeting, I'm not talking about voice actors or nothing like that. Obviously these people are technically not celebrities. But like, I'm talking about like politicians, stuff like that, right? Singers that have no talent. news podcasters, and it's like, I don't know, it's cringe. It's very cringe, and but it's like, you know, these people are cold and judgmental, right? Like you can't really believe what these people are saying, okay? Because when you do that, you're going to be in a constant state of exhaustion, and when you live like this, you're not living, you know, for how you want to live. You're not living what's good for you. You know, honestly, you know, that I would rather be here with characters that, like, I would marry as far as waifus go, or like just friends, like guy characters that I can trust, than in a room full of normies who judge everything they don't understand. So it's like, you know, that's what normies do. They judge everything they don't understand and don't want to understand, right? And it's like, you know, no, I'm good there, bro. Like, I'm good. I can't stand normies. It's like normies, you know, they completely obsess over sports, like football, which is stupid. I mean, wow, you're passing the ball around, bro. It's not that cool. I mean, it's kind of boring, to be honest. Like, it's pretty damn boring. Like, and it just goes to show that, like, these people are so bland. They're so boring. It's like, you know, because mostly what they do is interfere in other people's lives. They're constantly worried in other people's affairs, and in their spare time, they do sports, or they talk about sports, pointless crap, or or politics or something. And it's like, it's just, I don't know, like, it goes to show that, like, you can't really even be around these people, because the thing is with these people is they do not have your best interests at heart. They have a version of you in their head, bro, like, that they don't like. Like, that they like and want you to be like. And that's like them, right? The version of you that they have in their mind is the version that's like them. And, you know, it's also like a mental, like, you know, mental peace and stuff. Like, you know, you know, it's like you have good peace, bro, like, doing this. Like, I would honestly rather, crap, I just got crushed. Anyway, it just goes to show that, like, you can't really be too trusting of people, right? And it's like, you know, here's the thing, these people, a lot of them now, they will claim, right, they, like, say, like, the Christian ones, right? So a lot of them will claim they worship Jesus, right? Well, who did Jesus hang out with? That's the question, because, oh, that's right, he hung out with the outcasts, sinners. Yeah, that's right. He often criticized hypocritical religious leaders because, you know, of, well, I mean, I guess that's pretty self-explanatory, but
the God of Thunder!
It just goes to show, man, that, like, you can't,
Welcome to the Dark Force dimension.
you just really can't,
I'll get you next time.
you can't let what these people say bother you, right? Like, you, You gotta be true to yourself, bro. Like, you know, and that's the thing, you know. Like, I've learned that the hard way, bro. Like, I wasted a few years of mine caring what people thought on stuff like that, and it's like, bro, I'm so glad I don't care about that stuff no more. I like the hobbies that I have. I would not change my hobbies. I don't want any new hobbies, by the way. So, but yeah. I mean, and I definitely wouldn't want normie hobbies either. So, but anyway, this is a safe space for like otakus. Just letting you know. So, but if you like the type of content I create, make sure you like and subscribe and stuff, or don't, whatever. Anyway, I'm not really gonna go all out like on this. Like, basically what I mean is, as far as like going on, I mean like just going on and on and on about it. You get the picture. So anyway, yeah. See ya.